Welcome back to The Edge. Google's latest quest, investigating a glitch in local service ads. Google also unveils its new AI assistant called Help Me right on this Chrome browser. And here's a hot take. Don't blame us if we have successful search results. You're listening to News from The Edge for the week of February 26th here on Edge of the Web Radio.
From the Edge of the Web studios, here's what we're looking at this week.
All those were Google headlines, every one of them. Plus, there's even more today. Google, Google, Google. All the Googles. Well, this is Edge of the Web Radio. This is not Google, but we are talking about them on a regular basis. I'm Aaron Sparks, owner of Site Strategics. This is Edge of the Web Radio. Welcome to the show if you've not heard it before. We're covering SEO and digital marketing news separate from our interview series that we drop each and every Thursday. So we try to drop this thing around Monday or Tuesday each week to be able to help you in your digital marketing work week. Joining me this week on the show is not Mordy Oberstein, but the CEO and founder of MobileMoxie, the ineffable Cindy Krum. How are you doing there?
Hey, great to see you. Happy to be here. Sorry Mordy couldn't make it, but happy to stand in for him.
No, it's okay. It's okay. We need a break from Mordy every once in a while. Don't we all? You know, it's kind of the thing. Everybody needs a little bit of decompression.
It's been a relaxing day.
It really has. It's been low stress. Well, if you caught the last 10 minutes of last week's episode, I was borderline actually having to flag that one as explicit because he was swinging for the fences. But Cindy, what's happening in Cindy's world?
I just got back from a trip to the UK. That was a lot of fun, and it was my birthday. I'm not going to talk about how old I am, but I'm older now.
Oh, we all are. We all are. So anything really cool happened on your birthday?
Well, being in the UK, I went to a high tea, and then I also got together with a bunch of people and did a Viking festival in New York.
Oh, wow.
Dressed up like Vikings and had mead.
Mead is a good thing. No, we are proponents of mead. But the high tea thing, okay. Because I go, whenever I hear that, my mom's British, but I keep on superimposing like the high table from John Wick. That's not the same as a high tea, right? Anywhere close.
No, but we had a high thing of like 3 layers of food.
Ah, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I've had that once with my British mom, and she's only done that once. Although she would take my daughter and do it like every year for about 3 or 4 years. I don't know what that was all about, but she had a good time. So, MobileMoxie, what's going on over at MobileMoxie?
Chugging right along, making some improvements to the tools, doing the consulting and speaking. So living the dream.
Tell us about your tool real quick for people that have not come across you on this show or haven't come across what MobileMoxie does.
Yeah, so we have a whole suite of tools, but basically what they help you do is test either queries or landing pages and capture the tests over time. So you can either do live tests or automate tests. And for the Pagescope, that's the landing page tester, you grab a full-length screenshot as well as rendered and unrendered code, so you can capture it over time and do a diff checker to compare. Oh, cool. So it's great if you have rogue developers who make changes without asking. And you have to go back and be like, when did our schema go away? If you're testing those pages on our tools, you can see it. And then similar with Google making rogue changes to a SERP, especially if it's just adding something or making something bigger, we do the full-length screenshot and parse it for you and give traditional ranking, actual ranking, which is more realistic, and then pixels from the top. So you can see what's actually in the search result, and it's specific down to an address and a phone and a phone language. So you can do it from anywhere in the world.
Oh,
so
very cool.
Very specific.
That's like the most empirical data that you can get out of these type of products. You're actually doing some fantastic screen grabs where there's a lot of others that are kind of almost there, kind of guessing the real estate. You're rolling in, showing us screen grabs from whatever location you want to actually put forth, right?
Real stuff that makes sense instead of numbers, which are becoming more and more meaningless.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, testing is very important, especially whenever we talk about this first article. And thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. We're going to dig into this here from Search Engine Land, from Nicola Agius. Check this out. Google's investigating a local service ads bug. Google's now working to fix this thing from preventing businesses from appearing in search results for their competitors' names. I kid you not. The issue came just weeks after the platform started piloting the branded local service ads called direct business search. This new ad type allows brands to show up in search results when someone directly searches for that brand or business. Seems safe that you're going to give priority to that particular advertiser if somebody's typing in their brand name. But lo and behold, their competitors starting to show up on that search. So Joy Hawkins from Sterling Sky actually gave a couple screenshots. She caught that last week. So when users were actually searching for a brand on Google, their intent obviously is to find that brand, not a competitor. You better believe that some of the advertisers were a bit upset when they were seeing their own competitors show up before their own brand. Got to get that right, folks. Whenever you're doing that type of platform upgrade, especially whenever it's in an advertising platform, make sure that you've tested this all out. I'm sure they have, but man, you just can't roll out a product like this with that type of flaw in it. Cindy, what do you think about local service ads, but this specific type of flaw that they rolled out with?
Yeah, I think this would be frustrating for anyone who's paying, because my understanding of the local service ad branded result is that you specifically pay to be the result when someone
Right.
searches for your brand name, and you're paying to be the only result and not include the competitors. So if competitors are ranking there at all, what you're paying for is a complete sham and you shouldn't be paying for it.
No.
So
Yeah.
hopefully people get refunds. But then in the other side of it, my thought here was like in SEO, when people search for a brand, the default of the first scroll of results is to have it be
Mhm.
all that brand. So if you search for Target shoes or something like that, you
Right.
usually get a bunch of Target stuff, and no one's paying extra, and it's because people want that. So
Mhm.
it's I question, I don't know, like I feel like Google's really taken advantage of here, because if someone searches for a brand, you should be the one that shows up. Like,
Well, I mean, on the paid search side, in the conventional Google search ads, you can still bid on a competitor's name. You just can't have it in your text. I mean, there is a space in which Google has allowed advertisers to be able to play that space, but in local search, especially with that coveted space and how much goes into background checks and the like to be able to have that space open, and your competitors show up and you don't, that's a whole nother level of scrutiny that should be applied there. Is that if the ads themselves are valuable beyond what we see regularly on the ad space, make sure that stuff is locked down tight,
yeah.
because the intent is to find that brand, because it also can go right into the map pack as well. So your ad can show up right next. So literally you could have actually been showing your competitors in a map functionality as well. I'm not saying that was what happened. Actually, Joy did. Joy's
Yeah.
actually showing that screenshot. It was showing up right there, wasn't it? Oh, my Lord.
Well, and a lot of the time it's smaller businesses there that don't have the big advertising budgets to like waste that kind of money. So it does feel a little bit like adding insult to injury there.
What does this do to the dentist that got viral for calling himself Dentist Near Me? That's his brand, right?
Right?
So,
Maybe he's the one that messed up the algorithm that was
but
decided to
I mean,
show.
if he wants to pay money for brand search, does he have a legitimate?
Argument now.
You can't be showing other stuff for Dentist Near Me because
I
that's
see.
my brand name, man.
It's finally
Well,
playing out.
Yeah.
yeah, that's a
Greg
good point.
Gifford said that wasn't really that great of a play. It was clever and funny, but not that good. But if Google's going to try to help brands reverse that,
I'm thinking there's something there.
maybe,
There's
I
something
don't
there.
know.
I think we just need to rethink that entire thing, right? Well, as this is something that I would ask them, please, if we have any sway anywhere, please rethink this as well, just as a public service announcement from Search Engine Journal. And this is from Matt Southern here. Google launches Help Me Write AI Assistant for Chrome browsers. Launches an AI writing assistant to suggest text based on the website context. Now, check this out. It launched this tool set, and wherever you are, whatever website you're on, if you're actually having an input box where you can start typing something like a review or an inquiry, even a chat, it can jump in there, if you're in a Chrome browser, and give you some prompts to be able to help. Well, other way around, you actually prompting it, and it will actually write content for you around the context of the website. So some examples that they rolled through there was demonstrating, so for example, moving to a smaller place, selling air fryer for $50 as a description, posting a sale basically. And then it rewrote based on that prompt. I'm moving to a smaller place and won't have room for my air fryer. It's in good condition and works great. That's not what the prompt said, by the way. I'm selling it for $50. Please contact me if you're interested. You can change the length and the tone of this prompt. They have a couple other prompts in there as well. But here's the deal is that you can see these prompts when you fire up this Google prompt here, this Chrome prompt, that it's giving a lot more embellishment. And all you're having to put in is a few key operative nouns and verbs to be able to get this thing fired up in its full, rich presentation here. My point here is that, and this is my take. We've lost the ability to write cursive because it's not in schools anymore, okay? Autofill and autocorrect in our text devices as well as on our Word docs and our Google Docs have kind of untrained us from using grammar correctly, as you can tell from that sentence. But literally, if everywhere in our digital ecosystem, AI is going to be there to, oh, don't worry, I got this. You don't have to actually complete a bloody sentence. We are going to go down to pictographs at some point in time. We're going to learn that we don't have to complete anything. AI will pick it up and embellish it for us.
Get off my lawn.
I thought the embellishments there were funny though, because like it's hallucination embellishment where it's just making up things, and I think that's going to make it easier for people to lie.
Yeah.
Like there's another example in the article about a broken bike helmet, and it makes up something that could be a lie that's like the bike helmet is broken through no fault of my own. Like
Exactly. Write a return. This is perfect. I'll give an example for the listeners. Write a request to return a defective bike helmet that has a okay, and the fully complete paragraph that the AI came back with. I would like to return a bike helmet that I recently purchased. The helmet developed a crack along the line where the helmet is joined together. The crack was not caused by an impact or other damage. The product warranty does not state that this type of damage is covered. I'd like to return the helmet and request a refund. Wow. Now, I do have to say that I don't know I can't see there's the entire prompt. Write a request for return of a defective bike helmet that has a line crack despite not stated as covered in the product warranty. It literally lied for you. You're absolutely right, Cindy.
it's interesting, but also it speaks to the idea of Google understanding the context of a page so much already. And I think that we have to always take these things that Google does with a grain of salt to be like, why do they want this? What are they trying to learn?
Right.
And they're trying to learn and build out their understanding of the journey of why someone would want to land on this page.
Oh, it's very insightful. Yeah.
Yeah. So they can take and process your input and aggregate it and understand like, oh, this page is when people are returning a product. But at the same time, like I can't remember ever having used a public form to return a product like that. It might be to leave a negative review, but not actually, I don't know. I guess I would be sending them an email directly, but this help me write can work in email too. The other thing I noticed on this one was the directions in the article weren't super clear about how it works. So you have to go enable it, and then it's not like a button that you get in your nav or anywhere on the page or in the AI assistant. It's a right click function. So you have to right click into the form field that you want to fill out and then click help me write.
Well, that's tricky. That won't be abused at all.
Well, if you install the Help Me Click plugin first,
Right.
it'll
Help me click. I don't know. Again, yes. I'm being a bit curmudgeon-y here, but my Lord, can we stop shortcutting things? If you're going to post a refund request, take the time and write it correctly. I understand these are helpful things, but you're on the borderline of hallucination and all these different AI spaces. And now you're actually allowing us to utilize it to shortcut a couple minutes of thought, right? Get off my lawn. All right. I'll calm down here. Calm down. Hey,
But also, it's limiting for I think it's limiting for the company too, right? They're not going to get lots of great feedback about like what were you trying to do and when did your helmet, crack and why do you think it cracked? Anything that might be very unique to you is just going to be aggregated out to this middle, standard feedback from an AI bot.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, there is another space where just reading, I mean, some of your customer service is going through all of your feedback points. And if the AI bot's taking over the reins there, it's not authentic, it's homogenized. Whatever discipline you did have to be able to dive into your review feedback and even using some sort of tools to be able to research that, that's all going to be going away. And you're not going to have any unique insights because it's all fabricated.
I also wondered too, do you think that might be something to help Google understand or minimize the prevalence of review sites that are like review affiliate sites that don't actually collect reviews? And so there's not a place for them to get the
Oh,
reviews.
wow.
I wondered about that
That's
because
interesting.
review seems like the use case that they play out in their examples the most.
Right.
And we know that Google likes authentic reviews and dislikes inauthentic reviews. Unless they're writing them, then they like inauthentic reviews, right? Then they're okay with it. It's a really murky space, isn't it?
So what you're saying is that because it is actually contextually aware and can capture and observe the manual feedback that you're putting on a review site, it could also figure out that these review sites that are out there, they're not collecting reviews. Honestly, they're kind of just ginning that stuff up because it's not going in through the regular channel of input. Is that what you're saying there?
Something like that.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh! I think we're onto something here. This is all about product reviews, and it's trying to stealthily find these review websites that are not actually getting human entry. I think we're on. We got Cindy the Sleuth here. Honestly, it was pretty cool. All right. I got something else I want to talk about from a AI standpoint, but before anything else, just want to make sure that you know that the title sponsor of the show is Site Strategics. Proud to have Site Strategics as the sponsor of this episode of Edge of the Web News. We're celebrating our 20th year this year. We're focused on bringing your company into focus by entity SEO, content strategies, create curated content through our subject matter expert interviewing, all focused, yes, the third focus there, on creating helpful content for you or your clients. So if you're interested, give us a shout at sitestrategics.com, or you can call us 877-SEO for web or 877-736-4932. Before we get to some more AI, we need to pull the car over and listen to what Google actually had to say during their post-trial brief submitted to the Department of Justice. They're going through this entire case here, and Google says, don't punish us for our success in search. Over at Search Engine Land from Nicola Agius again, Google claims that the U.S. government is trying to penalize it for being successful in their post-trial brief submitted to a D.C. judge. They're making the comments such as, the evidence conclusively established that Google is of the highest quality, most popular search engine in the United States, and with the highest general search engine advertising monetization, yet the plaintiffs, being the government, would have Google punished and uniquely handicapped from competing to win these revenue share agreements. They had a number of key points here, and to the point, the result is, as they say, antithetical to U.S. antitrust law, punishing a successful firm that has out-innovated its competitors to the benefit of consumers that actually harms competition, not the other way around. That's the position they're trying to make here, is that don't hate me because I'm beautiful, right?
God, I love a good humble brag.
Cindy, I'm teeing it up for you. What do you think about this take that Google's giving at the end of their trial here?
I mean, I think it's kind of expected. This is the only position for Google to have. But in the nuances in the article, it talked about like the ad 360 and saying that you're 360 and showing letting people set up ads for a lot of different platforms, but intentionally blocking out your biggest competitor, Bing.
Yep.
It's either misrepresentation and you're not 360, uh, it's anti-competitive. I think Google could have, not that lawyers ever would, but I think they could have ceded some ground in this statement,
Yeah, they could
and
have.
just said like, we 360 lets us go with most of our competitors.
They could have. They could have done a little bit to say, yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, we weren't really polished over here, but they doubled down. They tripled down into we're the best. Why are you punishing us? And really trying to make the U.S. suit or the DOJ suit really about wanting to punish an organization as opposed to looking after the betterment of consumers, right?
Yeah, yeah, but there's tension there between a name that implies that it's all inclusive or mostly inclusive and intentionally preventing the biggest competitor
Hmm.
from being a part of it when
Yes.
other competitors are included.
Absolutely right. You got to watch the responses about this. The suit comes to judgment in May, I believe. So, got to watch what actually happens during that. I am certain that there's going to be more and more commentary from here to there. This is a big one. This is one, if not the biggest trial that they've had again regarding the antitrust situation they found themselves in across the entire country in different states, what have you. This one is the big one. And what do you think is going to happen here if the DOJ wins their case and tries to break apart Google? Are we even going to be there? Do you think that's actually going to be a thing?
I mean, I don't think they would try and break apart Google. They might just try and enforce some anti-competitive
Right.
elements in this ads 360
Yeah.
thing,
Yep.
and that would be a light touch, and then Google would basically just stop supporting ads 360.
They'll just walk away
as
from it.
they as they do.
Yeah.
They just stop supporting stuff sometimes, and they would come up with some other ads manager play that is easier for them to limit.
So you know what they're not supporting right now? Let's jump into AI news real quick. Google pauses their AI image creation. A quick message from Google Communications says they're aware that Gemini is offering some inaccuracies in some historical image generation depictions. And they made a statement out there that they're paying attention to it. They're going to stop it for right now so they can figure out what the heck's going on. All right, for everybody who doesn't know what just happened, all right, Bard, now Gemini, rolled out image creation. So you can actually prompt and it would create a number of different images, but some historical factual inaccuracies. So over at The Verge, an article came out and it actually explained what was going on here. One of the prompts that people had actually created was generating racially diverse Nazis and U.S. founding fathers. And this was actually shown in social earlier this week. Some incredible pictures here. And it literally was such an inaccurate focal point of image generation. And you can see that Google's there trying to counterbalance and try to create in any particular image generation of people is trying to give diversification there. But when it comes down to certain aspects of history, it was overcompensating and really triggering a lot of people out there. Did you see some of these images, Cindy?
Yes, I did. And I can see why they would be problematic. But then from Google's perspective, they're trying to address the larger problem, which is that AI can be inaccurate or can be skewed, especially around topics like gender and race in visuals, because they have so much input of one type of person in one associated with certain types of words and concepts. So they have added elements to their functionality to compensate for that, to forward an idea of diversity. The problem is a lot of people are using AI to depict things that don't exist,
Correct.
and that can be good or bad. So for instance, if I ask Gemini to make a picture of a alligator wearing a tuxedo, it should be able to do that. And we don't it shouldn't come back and say, well, Cindy, alligators don't wear tuxedo. But in this case,
Only at alligator parties, however.
only at alligator parties.
Right,
That's
exactly.
why it came to mind, is because I've actually done that prompt. But we don't expect it to push back. But then on these inaccurate depictions of historical events, should it, what is the right answer? Should it push back? Should it just do it? Should it have some caveat that's included in the image? Like, it's an interesting topic to tackle.
Yeah,
What do you
some
think?
sort of disclaimer. I mean, if you're pushing through and trying to use AI in a contextual, inaccurate space, I mean, at least, same thing we're talking about with just using AI broad scale to be able to just create anything without any type of checks or balances, having some sort of disclaimer out there that this is AI generated information, having something on that image that has a stamp of historical or cultural inaccuracy could very well be valuable. But
Yeah.
how do they do that, right?
How do they do that? Because Google and all of us, have a vested interest in preventing disinformation. And it seems like that's the concern,
Right.
is that, rewriting history in a way that is not accurate doesn't help anyone, really.
No.
So
I recall back about mid last year, whenever I saw a video that was an AI created video that showed a plume of smoke coming out of the Pentagon, right? And a news organization, the first one to jump on that was actually one in India, and they went so far as to say that it was real, and they even had some sort of commentator that was bashing America, that they are inviting terrorists continually onto their soil. I mean, they went so far as to go not even vet anything. They just went full bore. We're in this society where an image is permanent. It will be in your mind, even if it's actually removed or if it's inaccurate and stated inaccurate after the fact. There's a responsibility of creating fictionalized content's one thing if you know it's fictionalized. If it's not and it's being proffered up as actual, you can't unsee those things. And there is a space where there's going to be a lot of visual abuse, especially as we're getting into this election period. There's going to be a lot of things that are generated up that you just can't take back. Even if it is erased, the impact's already been done. You see what I'm saying?
Well, and I'm going to say, like, that's the thing there. We have to train everyone else not to trust anymore.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate because even if we can mark these images, even if all the AI generators all agreed, like, yeah, we're going to put watermarks and tell everybody like, we've had watermark removers forever. Like, that's not anything new. We've been, Photoshop and plugins and things have been removing watermarks forever. So the first thing someone's going to do is
Get a smart watermarker.
Yeah.
Remover,
Or like one of Photoshop's greatest features is the generative fill. You've got an image that you like, you want to make it just a little bit bigger, or you got a little watermark you want to remove, you just highlight that area and say, oh, replace this. Boom, gone.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can't trust that the watermark's not going to be there. And I know this kind of leads into the next story.
It does. It does.
Look at that. Isn't that nice?
No, what a wonderful segue.
It is.
Over at Hollywood Reporter, check this out. Tyler Perry puts an $800 million studio expansion on hold after seeing OpenAI's Sora. He says the jobs are going to be lost. So he's a filmmaker, actor. You've seen him on the shows. He also owns a studio, and he's raising this alarm about the impact of this tech. Now, we just announced about this last week. Sora, OpenAI, kind of quietly released this text-to-video creation. He says, I feel like everybody in the industry is running 100 miles an hour to try to catch up and try to put in guardrails. Well, if you have not seen some of the video content that this OpenAI Sora does, we'll go flash them on screen. We'll also have a link to it from the video. Check this out. It's pretty wild. No. Of course, this has no sound, but for our audience who's listening to the podcast, you've got some incredibly rich visuals here, and on top of it, some quite odd moments as well. I mean, you got a gecko on a branch. You've got a cat that's going through the bush. It looks so fantastically real. An octopus that's crawling along the bottom of the ocean. These things, and that's kind of weird right there, Jacob. Don't ever show me that picture again.
I think it tells you that was an animated what is that? An otter, gopher, something on a surfboard.
That was
I mean,
utterly uncanny.
the first thing that's
Nothing.
suffer is gonna be animation studios.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because animation, you can get away with it not being perfect. Like
Right.
no one's gonna look at an animated otter and be like, otters don't smile like that.
Right. So I
Of course
mean,
they don't.
the industry, the animation industry, is going to be just pounded with this
Yeah.
because all that is visual or rendering from text prompts. So we talk about this on a regular basis, getting your text prompts in order and learning how to actually sculpt with AI, right? Because it's not going away. And there's the guy on the treadmill that's rolling backwards on the treadmill. Why in the world AI thinks that it can do that? Stop with the cute animals.
I like this one.
The floating chair.
Yeah, this is how chairs are made. If you're listening to this, you got to go watch.
Yeah, you got to go watch. There's 4 people digging a chair out of the sand, and it's literally floating like a lawn chair.
And that looks like Cindy.
Oh, and
It's
that's Cindy.
so good.
That's crazy. That is
so
the
good.
uncanny valley right there.
Oh, that is Cindy. Sorry,
Oh.
I switched videos.
Cindy, tell us what you think about this. I mean, this is all kind of converging to the same point, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think Tyler Perry has a lot of the same anxiety about his job as I do mine. Like, what is it going to be? And it seems like we want to use AI to do the best job that we can at what we're supposed to do and save money. But at the same time, he talks about being concerned about people's jobs, and all of the people who build his sets won't have jobs anymore if he just uses AI to
Right.
do it. But they'll save a bunch of money not having to travel to Colorado to get a ski scene in the snow, things like that. He makes a lot of really good points, and the AI, the examples you gave are so good that they kind of prove the point. And so all I felt really on that was like empathy, and reading the article, I felt deep empathy and a concern of like, I had thought about that it would affect movies and creating movies, but maybe not to that level. And so it made me think, like, what other industries have I not really thought deeply about enough
Right.
that are going to be impacted by AI? And it seems like there's a lot of potential, the way AI grows and learns and whatever, in an ever increasing way, that like 2 years from now life might look very different. I don't know, maybe this is where I come into the get off my lawn part of the perspective. I think it's a bit exciting but also scary. I don't know.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Get off my AI generated lawn.
Ooh,
Yes,
yes.
exactly.
Well, it's terrifying because it's not only the jobs lost, and that's a huge thing. I mean, that's it. They asked him in the article, "Have you used AI recently?" He says, "Yeah. I mean, there's two things that are coming out that he could forego any of aging makeup because it was just right there, and AI generated everything necessary." So what did that do? That just displaced 2 to 3 different makeup artists that didn't work on that show, right? So that's a practical, direct application there. But the scary thing is how good it's getting so quickly. That's what's terrifying to me.
Do you think there's an argument, though? I feel like AI de-aging stuff looks so much better than any makeup has ever been. So is it okay in that situation when it looks better? If we're talking about 2 things that look the same,
Right.
and someone's losing a job because AI can do it,
Just
There's
because
a
it
good
can
argument.
doesn't mean it should. And I think I'm going to stand on that particular turret, is that there's
So-
something to be said for inaccuracies. There's something to be said. I mean, for writing, for example, we've talked to a number of
Yeah.
people that are huge advocates of content writing from an AI standpoint. I think what we're going to be seeing is that the humanisms that come through in art are going to be the most coveted things, because everything's going to look so damn good.
right?
It's not going to really be real. And to your point, okay, yeah, makeup, practical effects makeup, right?
I've always felt like certain things just never looked real.
Sure, but there's a huge swing back to practical effects movies,
Yeah.
because AI and CGI have done such a disservice to the industry that it's put too much polish on the apple. You know what I'm saying?
Now, how did you feel when the scene in Wizard of Oz and it went from black and white to color? Did that bother you? Nope. Okay.
Not gonna respond.
Okay.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate that. I'm not that old.
No, I didn't say you were that old.
Jeez. He points out something and then he just digs right in.
I'm trying to cover for Mordy. Am I doing it?
Cindy,
okay?
what do you think about the point there of real as opposed to fabrication?
I mean, I think that people will start to be able to notice it and sense it, kind of like if you've watched enough Law and Order episodes, you start to feel the pattern
Mm-hmm.
and it gets less interesting. Kind of like
That's a good
in
point.
the same way you would say something that someone says is saccharine sweet. Like, yes, it seemed like it was sweet, but it not sweet necessarily in an
That's a
authentic
good
way.
analogy. Yeah.
Yeah, so people will see through the lack of authenticity, and I think they'll miss it, or at least I hope they will.
You hope they will. You hope that they will. I'm going to throw in one more article in the mix here. Talk about saccharine sweet here. I think there's been a little bit of an interesting manipulation here. Reddit signs the AI deal. We finally know who they signed it with. They signed the AI content licensing deal with Google. This came out this weekend. We talked about it last week on the show. Okay. Google's search visibility for Reddit has exploded in recent months. And this is from Danny Goodwin over at Search Engine Land. Now, the companies have actually struck a content licensing deal for $60 million. And by the way, the user-generated content of which Google's training its AI on is not compensated whatsoever. None of the users that have created this content are going to get compensated. But Reddit has certainly gone up on the charts from search visibility here over the last 3 months. Could that be a coincidence at all? Who knows? I'm not going to do this article that much justice here, but I did want to get your thoughts on what's happening there. We're talking about AI all over the place here, and certainly Google's trying to train up its bot and catch up with what OpenAI has done. What are your thoughts about the Reddit joining there?
I mean, anymore, I don't think that Google is an honest actor.
Mm-hmm.
And this just kind of proves that out, that Google was getting something out of showing Reddit in more and more search results. Either they were getting click data or preferencing it to show how well people would interact with that kind of data. Like, I do think that this makes it clear that there was a reason that was not for the user's benefit or any business benefit other than Google and Reddit, that they were preferencing Reddit results. And it seems quite obvious to me. So yeah, ever since we saw those articles coming out in the law case about Google not using click data, but Google kind of using click data, I think that they're fooling themselves and they're trying to put up Chinese walls about, oh, we didn't do it for that reason, but that was a side benefit that we never even considered. Like, yeah, right, guys. Stop.
You're Google. You get paid to think over there.
It's getting more and more transparent. Like, they're good at coding, but maybe not good at lying or fooling your average I think this is too blatant. I don't know. Maybe I'm bitter.
No. And you are among a number of people that are chiming about this. Glenn Gabe is posting a number of points of view regarding this. Interesting to see that 73% increase in pages ranking in the top 100 for Quora since the fall of 2023, when Reddit also surged. So it wasn't just a pure increase in rankings for Quora. It was also a huge increase in the number of pages ranked. So he's paying attention to Quora as well as Reddit. Google's trying to find the authentic content, that authentic nuance of information in all sorts of subjects here. So they're benefiting greatly. Yeah, it was a bit disingenuous. And there's a lot of interesting threads right now about that very thing.
One more thing here is that the more they act like they don't know what's going to happen when they make a change to their algorithm, the more that's going to put them in hot water in the long run. Because if they're launching changes without testing it in some way, that's reckless behavior.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
As a business, and it could endanger lives. So they can't keep leaning so hard on, oh, we made this change and we wanted to reward authentic stuff, and that just happened to be Reddit. Like,
who'd have guessed? Yeah, exactly. And they can't
on what we knew about Reddit already. Oh, we didn't know.
They can't play both sides. They really can't, because in the middle of it is they're calling us idiots if they're doing this, and they are still trying to play that Oh, we're completely unplugged from our biasty here. We want to make sure that everything is an even playing field. I mean, the thing about it is that, we've got this thing over here with the Gemini creation of images that were completely out of whack there. Then you got them coming over and deciding, hey, we're going to make sure that Reddit looks incredible on search and then scoop all that up for ourselves. There's too many flags here on the play.
Well, and just to chime in, and I'm jumping ahead in the articles, but they showed their hand explicitly when they launched this most read articles carousel. They've basically said, yeah, you guys caught us on click tracking. So we're just going to go full bore now and tell you, like, these are the ones that are getting the clicks, buddy. Like, here's a carousel.
Hey, we're proud to have InLinks as a sponsor of Edge of the Web, continued sponsor. They've been with us for a couple of years now, and we love the software. They also have a new social media tool. If you haven't heard about it yet, go check it out. It solves a big problem that other tools can't. InLinks doesn't use keyword research to tell you what to write about on social media. It actually reads your own content on your website and then creates a social media calendar with your own content. You can get some great topical and relevant ideas to engage with your audience and build a very valuable social media calendar. They do a lot of other things as well, and I don't want to sell them short. Incredible content briefs and analysis. They do some fantastic in-link connections. That's where they got their name, is be able to create pillar in-link cross-linking strategy inside of your own website content. They also deploy structured data that's uniquely oriented to create entity definitions. So check out everything over at edgeofthewebradio.com/inlinks today. You get your free trial of the software. And if you chat with them over there, let them know that Edge of the Web sent you. All right, we jumped into Barry Blast, and we want to make sure that we are respectful for time and get Cindy out of here quickly. But Cindy, I'm going to jump into one of the articles here that we're talking about, and we'll swing and put the rest of them on the show notes. This is from Search Engine Roundtable, Google's most read articles search carousel. Google's testing this new carousel named Most Read Articles, and he says Google's using the click data to see which articles are being read the most, right? Because that's the only bloody way you could. Or maybe Chrome or analytics data, maybe. He says he can't replicate it, but I'm going to do damage to that name, so we'll make sure we give a shout out during the social. This gentleman posted a screenshot on X, which actually showed an entire carousel of most read articles, and they are also spotted on mobile as well. So to round out this entire thing, that's what you're talking about right here, is that it's saying that Google said that it wasn't looking at, that's even since 2016, that it wasn't looking at click data as ranking signals. However, the DOJ article, the antitrust, showed explicitly that they were.
Yeah.
So
they were they were talking about it in kind of coded languages and coded ways about how it would benefit different teams, and if that just happened to happen. So yeah, now they're being pretty outright and saying, yeah, we use click data and here's the most read articles. And since the secret's out, why don't they put click counts next to every ranking in a search
why not?
result?
I mean, yeah, exactly. Why not?
If we're gonna go to the lowest common denominator and rank things based on popularity rather than quality, here's a carousel for you.
All right. That's ending up in an audiogram. All right. Cindy, I'm going to ask you to choose between 1, 2, or 3.
3.
3. All right. 3 is Alpaca, a Photoshop plugin. Check it out. The tool over there. You can jump in and actually use generative art. How can I do this in good straight face? Generative art tools that work alongside you. Now, this is not a paid sponsor, but we always try to throw a tool out there. This is a plugin that can actually go along with the AI generative tool that Adobe has, but it does a huge amount of additional generative information and generative image generation. So you can see on the screen, we've got a number of different little bytes there you can see examples of, but it's a cool tool if it's used correctly. Okay, just the caveat there, because boy, this has been an AI bashing session today. But that was one of the tools that we wanted to throw in, and we'll put the other 2 tools in our newsletter. Make sure you sign up for the newsletter as we're cranking out all this content to your inbox, as well as topics that we did not cover on the show, but we are still researching. That's the Edge advantage, to be able to jump in there and see all the stuff that's happening. Cindy, it's been a pleasure talking to you as always. Thanks for jumping in here. We'd certainly love to have you back. And anything we can promote for you before we cut you loose there?
No, I'm just happy to be here. Thanks for having me, and thanks for being unavailable today, Mordy.
Yay!
But it was fun. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Thanks so much. And we hope to see you again at another conference in the near future. Take care, and all the best of luck with MobileMoxie.
Thank you.
More than welcome. That's it for Edge this week. Make sure you check out the second episode of our Ola King interview. Make sure you join the newsletter, like I was talking about, is we're cranking up a brand new newsletter with a lot of information and our hot gaffes and takes wherever we can. But check out everything, because we're also piping in all of the stories that we didn't have time to cover on the news. Just go over to edgeofthewebradio.com / I think it's / newsletter. Just go to edgeofthewebradio.com and find our newsletter. It's right there. Be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you feel up to it, we'd love to have a review of this show in particular. So if you go over to ratethispodcast.com / edge today, you can see your platform of choice that you can give us a 5-star review. Please do that. And if it's a 1-star review, make sure you search for SEO Rant and tell them that Edge sent you there. From all of us over at Edge, stay safe, stay well, and do not be a piece of cyber driftwood. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.